What the hell? What is Dino? Hey, what's up you guys? And for this video, I thought I would do a story time about how the time I got cussed out by one of my teachers. It was many occurrences, not just once, so you guys will hear that when we get into the video. But before we even started, I want to put a disclaimer out there. I'm not trying to copy any YouTuber who has made one of these, such as Simply Justin 15, who actually might have came up with the idea. So yeah, let's get into the video and the story, and I will tell you guys. Okay, so the story goes down in 7th grade. I was in 7th grade, and I had this teacher for 2 class periods because I had it for 2nd and 6th because I had a seminar class or whatever. And well, the seminar class, if you don't know what a seminar class is, it basically helps support you in a subject you need help with. Like this school had writing, reading, or math. I had to take math because I wasn't good at math. I didn't get a good test score or whatever, so I needed support in that class. Well, this all went down actually in 2nd period. So I was coming from band because I was super early because like the band class right near the math room classroom, it was right by there. So I was early, and so I came in, I took my paper from him, Mr. M, at the door because he offers our papers at the door for the day. So I took my paper for the day and I went and sat down because I sat right by the door or whatever and really close to the front of the room, so like where he teaches or whatever. So I sat down. I was sitting next to my friend Jay and 2 other people. That's not her actual name. I just call her Jay. And so I was having a normal conversation with Jay, and well, we were talking whatever. I had a really rowdy class too. Like they were really loud and they talked back to the teacher a lot, so it's kind of funny at times. So yeah, so they were all being really loud on her, you know. And so yeah, and then finally the bell rang. Mr. M came in. He put his papers down on the table so anyone who was late to the class could take their paper and then sit down. He took attendance while we were doing our warm-up. So I was doing my, he had a timer for us, so when he was done doing his taking attendance, he would come in and he would go over the warm-up with us, and then we'd start our class for the day. So we were doing our warm-up, and then finally he finished up, and he started talking about the warm-up, and everybody would raise their hand, and there was conversations going on in the back of the room, there's conversations going on in the front of the room. Like, everybody was talking, so he got angry, and he all told us, he's like, you guys need to be quiet, and I'm trying to teach a class. I don't think the other kids who are actually doing their work appreciate this or whatever. And so then they all calmed down for a bit, and then they started up again, and they started talking again, talking back to Mr. M, and I had a really bad class, as you can tell. So then Jay asked me a question. She asked me a question about the work or whatever, so I answered it for her. And then next you know, he comes up to me and my desk and he's like, you need to be quiet because I'm trying to teach a class or whatever. I'm like, she asked a question about the work, so I helped her. Like, he always told us, he's like, if you have a question, ask your neighbor, no matter when it is, so they can help you. So I was helping her. And then I told him, I'm like, you said we can ask questions that anybody ever had or never had at the beginning of the school year. And he's like, no, I didn't. I never said that or whatever. And this and that. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. And then he's like, you know what? I'm writing down your name on my clipboard. I'll call your parents later. And I'm like, why are you going to call my parents right away when I just told you I was answering her question for her? And then he's like, you need to stop talking back or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not even talking. Okay, whatever. And then moving on, he continued with the class or whatever. And then finally, class was over, which I was like, thank the Lord, this class is over, because I don't appreciate this. So then, he's like, Lucy, come here. After class, so I'm like, okay. And then I went to him, I'm like, okay, what do you want? Whatever. And he's like, if you apologize, I'm like, apologize for what? I said that in my head though, I didn't want my mom to call because my mama would get pissed. So I was like, okay, I'm sorry. And then he was like, okay, you can go to your next class now. I'll write you a pass. I'm like, okay. So he wrote me a pass and I went to my next class. Coming around to 6th period, like after my history class or whatever, I went back and I'm like, please let this be a better class because I don't need his crap again because, you know, I don't need it. I'm trying to learn. I come to school so I can learn and so I can go to college. Then I went in and I sat down. I sat in the back of the room with my friends or whatever because this is basically, you can sit wherever in this class for some reason. So I sat wherever. And then he came in, he started his warm-up, his lesson and everything. And then this class started up with their crap again. And I was like, really? I'm trying to learn here. And then, so then I told him, I'm like, you guys, be quiet, I'm trying to learn. And they're like, oh yeah, you're not trying to learn, and this and that. And I'm like, I'm trying to learn. What do you mean I'm not trying to learn? And then, so then he's like, thank you, Lizzie, you get a big fat star on your paper. Because he had this chart on the single chit list or whatever, where he's like, he gives us stars, and whoever gets like 3 stars, or the most stars by the end of the week gets like a bag of chips or something. Or, and I'm like, okay, thanks. And then, moving on, we were in the middle class. We were like the second half of class, he would give us a mini lesson, and then the second half of class, we would get out our workbooks, and we would do our workbooks for the rest of the time. He's like, okay, you guys go get your workbooks. So I got up and I went to go get my workbook, and so I sat back down and I got my workbook, and I was just trying to do my work and everything, and then like I started having, and then my friend decided they would talk to me, and I'm like, okay, well, I finished what I was supposed to do for the day, so I'm like, okay, I guess I could talk. So then I started talking with them about everything, and he came over and he's like, why are you guys talking about something that's not even math? And I'm like, I finished my math work for the day. He's like, so you can move on to the next day, so you finish early tomorrow. I'm like, I think I deserve a treat because I finished my work. And he's like, yeah, but everybody else didn't finish their work. I'm like, that's their problem. If they want to have a conversation with me, I'm going to have a conversation back because I finished my work. And he's like, you know what? You get that star taken away, you get a negative smiley face. I'm like, okay. Like, okay, I don't care. Or whatever. So, and then finally, that class ended. So, I went on to my next class. And then it was a few weeks later, it was also in second period again. So I came into the big class, as they call it. And I went into the big class and I started doing my work and everything. Question. I'm like, I kind of learned for this before, but I'm going to answer for her because she wants to know. So I started answering her question next. You know, he comes in, he's like, didn't you learn from this earlier? Not to talk to them. I'm like, how many times I gotta tell you that you said at the beginning of the year, if they need help, we help them. Like, what the hell? I swear, this teacher on me was the most annoying teacher I've ever had. And I was just like, you know what, whatever, I'm not going to talk for the rest of the class. I told Jay, don't talk to me, because if we keep talking to each other, then I'm going to end up getting my mama caught, and I don't need my mama caught. Nope, not today. Or any day in my life of going to school. I would get my booty kicked. A few weeks passed again, and it was actually 6th period, my seminar class this time. And, well, so I got a text from my mom in the middle of class, whatever. I was doing my work and I got a text from my mom because it was important too. So I decided, I'm like, I need to answer this text because it's important. So I started texting her back when he wasn't looking or whatever. I was like, okay, I'll message her back real quick. And next thing you know, he comes around, give me your phone. I'm like, what do you mean give me your phone? He's like, give me your phone. I'm like, this is my phone. My mama pays for this phone bill. I don't need your crap today. And then he's like, I'm like, this is an important text message. I really need to respond to her. He's like, you could have asked me. You could have went outside to the hall and texted her back in the bathroom or something. I'm like, it was a right now question, and if I didn't answer her right now, I was gonna get my butt kicked when I go home. I don't care. That's your problem. And I'm like, yeah, that's my problem. This is my problem. I need to text her back. And then he's like, you know what? Give me your phone. And I'm like, what? I need my father now? And then he's like, give me your phone. I'm like, whatever. The next thing you know, he snatches it out of my hand. I'm like, did you really just do that? You really just took my phone that my mom and dad paid for, and you're gonna go and act like you can take it? Like, nah, this isn't cool. So I got up out of my chair as if I was about to punch him in his face or something. I'm like, you know what, Lizzie? You need to calm down. You can't do this right now. And then so I finally told him, like, you really just snatched it out of my hand. Like, seriously, you don't pay for that, and you probably don't even have the money to afford it. Next thing you know, he starts rambling on, like, and I heard him actually slip a few cuss words into that thing. And then, like, I was just like, no, this isn't okay. And then I'm like, I start yelling back. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna tell my dad he's gonna call the school and he's gonna complain about you, and you're gonna lose your job. Whatever. I didn't tell him he was gonna lose his job because that was secret storage for him. Anyway, so then the next thing you know, I actually heard him tell me and all my classmates we're gonna fail at life. And I'm like, you're supposed to be a teacher. You're supposed to support us. You're supposed to teach us and help us to not fail at life. And I was just like, oh, hell no. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna tell my daddy this. So then I pretended after class. I was like, I'm sorry for what I did. I didn't mean it. I was just really emergency to text my mom back. She's like, next time just ask me and I'll let you text your mom back. And then he got her phone back. So yeah, and then I got my phone back. Okay, and then another few weeks passed by, and then this is actually the last occurrence because then after this I got switched out of the class into a new teacher's classroom. But there's also a story behind that. So then the next few weeks passed by and I was, you know, just doing my work, and I'm like, I can't argue with this teacher. My dad said that if I need to, I can walk into the classroom if I have to, and I could just cool up and I'll call him or whatever and tell him about it. So then I was doing my work casually, and then next thing you know, he goes into me, he's like, are you talking? And I'm like, nigga, you think I'm talking? I'm doing my work. My work is right here. And then he's like, this was the worst teacher I ever had. And then I'm like, you know what, I'm doing my work. I'm doing everything I'm told. I never do anything in this classroom because of you. You go and tell us we're gonna fail at life, and then you start cussing at me and everything. And he's like, I never cussed at you. I never told you I was gonna fail at life. I'm like, I check my customers. I'm like, did he not tell us we're gonna fail at life? And then they're like, I'm like, yeah, you agree with me. And then I was just like, no. And I went off on him. I swear. After this, I was actually known as, hey, you're gonna touch that custom Mr. M. And I'm like, yep, he deserved it. He deserved this. And then so I went off on him, and I was like, he was chasing me around the classroom as I was walking around. I'm like, stop chasing me. And then he's like, I'm not even chasing you, I'm trying to talk to you. And I'm like, no, you're chasing me. And next thing you know, everyone was like, oh, I was like continue on. They were like, ooh, you know. And I just walked out of the classroom, and I called my dad. And then next, you know, he calls the office on me, and I have to go down to the office. And I'm like, and then they're like, you know what, you could cool off. You could spend the rest of your math period in here. And I'm like, thank the Lord. But I still had to go to sixth period with him. And then that day I was just like, sixth period, I was just like, do not talk to me, do not screw with me, I am not in the mood for you. And then we didn't talk. was like, you best not talk to me. And he of course didn't. So yeah, and then after that I actually got moved out of his class to another teacher who was actually a great teacher, and I actually learned stuff from, rather than his class where everyone was just talking and I didn't learn anything. So then I actually got caught up and I started to learn everything again with this new teacher, and I was like, thank you, Lord, I needed this. So yeah guys, that was the time of when I got cussed out by my teacher. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too long or anything. I tried to make it as short as possible for you guys, but yeah, and I tried to actually amuse you guys in this by doing hand motions and everything. And so yeah, if you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe please, that would mean a lot if you guys subscribe. Like seriously, that's what I'm trying to cheat here, is to grab your guys' attention and for you guys to subscribe. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Did not over exaggerate anything in this video, it was all true. So I actually have more stories about like things like this. I actually have another story where I got yelled at, where I had another occurrence like this with another teacher. If you guys would like to see that, please let me know and I will make the video for you guys and I will put it up. So yeah, subscribe, like, and comment. Please leave some video request ideas down below because I would really appreciate that, and I will bring them for you guys, and I will actually do them or whatever, like challenges or anything or tags or whatever. Just leave them below and I will do them. So yeah, if you guys like this video, subscribe once again, and I love you to all my subscribers, which is like 3 of them. And like I said, I'm not trying to copy anybody with this. I just thought it would amuse you guys. So yeah, I love you guys to all my subscribers, and I will see you guys in my next video.